Greetings and welcome to a Wednesday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is July 9th. Andy, how we doing?
Brendan, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So abrupt there.
I know. I decided to change things up a little.
Well, that's great. You could always use a little change up. We have a big decision on our plate. But speaking of change up, we got a message after we recorded Sunday night. After Brian Campbell, your boy BC, Illini Brian Campbell, won the John Deere Classic, we got a message from frequent listener Adam, sent it to us, that his best friend, one of his best friends from college, bet Brian Campbell to win this week because of Andy's constant boosting of Campbell on the pod.
I don't know if I constantly boost
No. And if you did, that is an incredibly specious reason to put money on anything. But you did. I guess the Illinois connection came through to this individual, and he won a lot of money. This is from the source. His name is Greer McCurley, which sounds like can't be somewhat made up, but is real. I've checked in on this individual. He bet right after listening to the SGS pod. And he put a good amount of change on it.
A rational amount of change.
And as the following will confirm, it was a good amount of money. So he won betting Brian Campbell outright. And in honor of Andy boosting him, he'll make a $5,062.50 charity donation that you choose, and a $1,125 donation that I choose, and he'll make a $1,125 British Open bet that we will all share, the four of us, this bettor, and the three of us on this podcast, that PJ chooses. So PJ, you have a $1,125 bet to pick here for the Open. Andy's got $5,000 to allocate toward a charity of his choosing, and I have about $1,000, I guess, for not being a Brian Campbell fan. I get $1,000. So great news. Shout out to Adam and Greer, like very generous and kind of you, and sort of further evidence of the sicko but benevolent community that's exists around this podcast right now.
This is big news. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going with this.
To be clear, we're not ready. We don't know what charity this is going to. We're just announcing that it's happening. Who knows?
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, the person that has to decide this.
Where to send someone else's money. It is interesting.
The worst part about this is I'm going to get reached out to by numerous people pushing their charities.
Well, let's just stipulate for the record, if someone reaches out, you're automatically eliminated from the running. So don't reach out. If you get a solicitation.
If you reach out, just know I might not respond. And you can't take offense if I don't respond.
You won't even give you a thumbs up emoji if it's via text for fear of offending someone. Yeah, solicitations are disqualification.
If you reach out to PJ, he will respond because he's a Z.
That's true. You should look at the Patrick Cantlay Foundation or something like that. Just look around. Try to figure out something good. So anyways, thank you to Adam Greer. We will be...
Might just donate it into the Illinois NIL fund.
Does that count as a charity?
I don't know. Do you think that would get me perks? $5,000 into the NIL fund that get me some sort of alumni perks?
Might get courtside seats to an early non-conference game or so, something like that. Yeah, that feels like a for-profit deal going on there. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't count.
I think I'll find a better charity than,
all right.
than NIL.
It is in Brian Campbell's name, so maybe that flies. Hey, we got a great week coming up this week. Busy. Last week was very quiet. I would say sort of a ho-hum Deere. I love the Deere. We all love the Deere. It's a great event. It's got history and just this little engine that could. I wouldn't say it was rollicking. And you had the BMW International Open that Dan Brown, as much as we love him, won. But both events, somewhat ho-hum. and nothing else. This week, then, the Cup runneth over. We've got a women's major, the Amundi Evian Championship. A major in name only. I did see. Subscribe to the Mixed Bag podcast. Matt Galloway, sort of the sharp mind, former caddy for Michelle Wee and others on the LPGA, arguing that the Amundi Evian Championship is more of a major than the current Chevron.
I think I'm in on that take.
Good
the current Chevron, I think, should just be shipped out.
Stakes.
Shipped out to the sun. It should be held in less regard than what? I don't know. What
the Dow team event or the Shadow Creek event or what do you want to say? Okay. Just some regular event. Yeah, it's not gone well in my opinion.
The LPGA is it's just the classic case of the tail wagging the dog. Like
it's tough.
The partners run everything and the product suffers because of it.
Sort of like going to Atlanta and Memphis in August because the partners are telling you that's where we'd like you to be.
This is what happens when you allow the partners to run the product.
Well, this week I think offers a glimpse of hope when maybe product collaboration is prioritized because the Scottish Open is a banner. It's a banner of an event. Could it be better? Of course. Could it rotate to multiple courses? Sure. But it is only escalated and taken off. And it was in a good stead, I would say, prior to the strategic alliance and prior to the co-sanctioned moniker, with Ricky winning at Gullin and other developments.
I think Kuchar won at Gullin too.
I think that's right. You have
batting around.
You have a recent affinity for Matt Kuchar. Feels like you're into him lately. You like Matt Kuchar.
I just like people that provide guidance to young adults and encouragement and shepherd young.
There's plenty
young
of charities. There's plenty of charities that do that. I'm sure that could be a way in.
Maybe I'll reach out to Matt Kuchar, see if he has any good charitable ideas.
We'll reach out to L2 Can, see if he has any good charities you could help out in his standing down there.
Well, I was just thinking about the walking through Gullin's clubhouse, and you see Ricky and you see Cooch. That's why I brought up Matt Kuchar.
You did.
And he's fresh on my mind. He was batting it around at Deer Run. He might have been the first big first baseman.
It's an interesting proposition.
Totally bats it around.
God, just remember Jim Nance thinking he was the second coming when he was the amateur playing well at Masters. He's just like, oh my God, Matt Kuchar. Lanky Georgia Tech. I mean, Nance, you could have knocked him over with a feather. He was so fired up.
This happens anytime an amateur makes a run. Like
I know.
It's still young in his career, but where's Sam Bennett? Thankfully for pace of play reasons.
Oh, come on.
He's not been up on the big tour yet.
Come on. The guy went low am he was T 10 at the Masters. He did, and then he followed it up, I think, with the US Open.
That's what I'm saying. Where is he? What's he doing?
Struggling. He's struggling. But yes, we have a great event this week at the Genesis Scottish
ISCO,
Open.
You mean, right?
The ISCO. I'm going to get into some ISCO tee times. I mean, you dropped these boys in the middle of Kentucky. We might need to. Are we doing that on CBS tomorrow, PJ? Do we want to do that? I was looking through the tee sheet.
It's on the list. I think the field is good enough that we could get a good 5 minutes out of it.
That's great.
Maybe we could break it up. We'll do a little show planning minute. Maybe we could break it up into categories. Everybody's got to draft their favorite team based off of like certain categories.
I like that.
Obscure
People like
Euro,
a draft.
That is like, how did I get here? Talking Heads division. A Shub Sharma, somebody like
one
that.
Young gun.
One young gun.
One career money / random exemption. I saw Overton was in the field.
Past champion status. Yeah.
My notables. JB Holmes was a notable, and a bunch of
John Bradley.
His career accomplishments.
He's not JB Holmes anymore on this podcast. He should be only referred to as John Bradley.
God, he got whoever caught him was the bullet got him. JB Holmes, Marcus Armitage, and Tom Valiant Valiant, a Frenchman. It looks like. Are playing together in Louisville, Kentucky.
That's
you talk about Frankenstein.
Marcus Armitage could glean some Ryder Cup wisdom off of John Bradley there because he deserves to be on the team.
JB
wasn't it Portrush where John Bradley stood on the first tee and Zinger just ripped him? Said, he's only had all night to think about this tee shot.
Which club?
Which club to hit? He's standing over his bag.
Screwed
the first tee. Was it Saturday that he went out and shot like 84 or 87?
Or something. Yeah. He was with Brooksy.
He screwed Brooks. Absolutely screwed him.
Brooks screwed him. So he did jam him a little bit. He did. JB Holmes playing with Marcus Armitage in the middle of Kentucky this week.
The opposite of the bullet on the golf course, JB Holmes.
that's good. The pace car and the bullet. But in Scotland, what
a good matchup. The pace car versus the bullet.
We got some Frenchmen who I'm not familiar with. Tom Valiant.
Is young Tom Kim the new pace car?
It's an interesting question. He's certainly in the crosshairs for it. He's definitely in the crosshairs for it. He takes forever. Takes all day. Oh God, I might lose power here. Thundering.
That's so good.
The Genesis.
If you lose power, should PJ and I just carry the day? Finish it off.
Let it go.
We'll get the ad read done that we need to get done and sign off.
You could do that. The Genesis Scottish Open is at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick, Scotland. This is the fourth year that we've done this whole two-step with Kentucky and East Lothian, Scotland. Quite a diametrically different locales. The purse is $9 million, which is just an absolute money bath for the European Tour. Last week there was like 2.5 in Germany. By the way, speaking of Germany, PJ, we're getting some vitriol for a flag mix-up on the CBS show with Thomas Dietrich.
Yes, we committed a European
Wait, we put a German flag under proud Belgium?
not us. I want to be clear. Not us.
You're throwing CBS under the bus here.
The TikTok comments, not happy about the European wheel being on TikTok with a German flag for Thomas Dietrich, who is very much from Belgium.
I would just like the record to show it's not just us that are idiots that struggle with geography. We were getting
the Estonia minute getting jammed for that.
We were getting ripped for Estonia being nowhere near Slovakia or Roy Sabatini.
You think that Sabatini's influence doesn't span the entire continental Europe?
Continental reach. Yeah, that could be true.
I forgot. I was talking to somebody about the boy from Bratislava this weekend. Remember when we just random people were buying those Bratislava athletic department shirts?
Those were great. The crew necks.
I gotta get mine out. It's in the attic. I know right where it is.
I have one. My wife has one. She likes it. She wears it not out of the house, but she wears it with some amount of frequency. Casual wear. Got to get that. Speaking of, I don't know what, we're going back to the Renaissance Club. The notables in the field are Ludwig, Fitzy, Tommy Fleetwood, Victor Hovland, Bobby MacIntyre, your defending champ, Rory McIlroy, the champion 2 years ago, Xander Schauffele, the champion 3 years ago, Scotty Scheffler, number one player in the world, and Justin Thomas. I believe 8 of the top 10 players in the world are here. You have a full beefy 156-man field, about 75 each tour. It's split down the middle. 3 Korean Tour players are there. Some sponsors exemptions on the PGA Tour going to David Ford and Luke Clanton, Young Guns. It's an excellent field. It's an excellent event. It is proven, this co-sanctioned deal, as a good idea. You have the top Americans patronizing it. And, there's probably some Euros pissed off that they don't get their spot in a Rolex or a fancy event. Oh, by the way, we have Eugenio Chacarra making his, former live boy, sneaking in the back door on a quote-unquote PGA Tour event this week. Just an excellent field that has proved to be a good idea, a good model. I don't know if it can be expanded further in the summer, but this event is humming. It's in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's in a great spot. It's an awesome event. How could it be expanded further? Irish Open. I like venture to like hesitate. I have hesitation about doing like the Euro PGA.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah,
I mean, Wentworth?
Last year's Irish Open at Royal County Down could have been the best event of the year, non-major. It was an awesome event, but it was televised. I mean, remember that?
Yeah,
it was like on like NBC Sports. And we had to like stream it, and there were just like hand cams out there instead of drones and like showcasing arguably the best golf course in the world. So I think like one of the things, and it seems like they're pretty dialed in at Renaissance, like locked in there. You see them adding infrastructure. They got the stadium hole this week. Stadium hole. Not sure if people will be there. It's not.
Sixth hole,
it's a sparsely attended event because of how late it is. They push it so far back that what happens is, the Scots don't like to miss their dinner plans and night plans. They don't show up. So that could be the downside of like. But I think like you got to got just an opportunity to go to so many golf courses that like the Open's not going to. Like, I mean, there's a whole list of courses that the Open has passed by at this point because of infrastructure needs for how many people they need to accommodate. And,
do you have a few you'd want to proffer out there?
Gullen's a fun course.
Yeah.
Just down the road. Renaissance is, I think Renaissance is fine. It's like a good venue. But like go to the other parts of the country too.
Yeah. Yeah. They push it. Go ahead.
That would be neat. But you could do more. I just, at the end of the day, what's going to be hard, and this is, I think, like a very interesting conversation with Roll-App coming in, is like, are there sponsors that would support these types of events? And then the second part is how do you structure these events that, these players will go over there for a month or 6 weeks? That's the hard part about this. It's like the golf, unlike an NFL game, which is maybe a weekend. These guys now, a lot of teams do the full week there. Unlike that, it's not just popping in for one, but like if you did this and it's like I have to move my family for 6 weeks, maybe. I think that's the tricky thing with this.
Yeah. I mean, it would appeal to some and certainly not appeal to others. Like, it would be cool to go to London, home base in London for a month, get a flat with your wife and kid.
Is there anything but flats in London? Because that's all I ever hear about.
Condo, brownstone. I don't know what the terminology is, but then you can go to Edinburgh. You can go over to Dublin. You can whatever. You can bounce around a little bit. But yeah, I think you need willing players. You need a willing rights partner in a way, right, to come around. If you're paying for the rights and all of a sudden you go from a bunch of 6 p.m. Eastern finishes to a bunch of 3 p.m. Eastern finishes, that's an issue. I mean, that's part of the reason why they push it so late in the East Lothian areas, to try to get a little bit more cut of the American audience pushing into the afternoon hours on the East Coast. And, then you end up with a 9 p.m. local finish and people going home to bed on Sunday or having their, evening tea or whatever it is. So that is part of the issue. But yeah, it just feels like God, I know having the Open there is the ultimate carrot the week after, but you've got 8 of the top 10 in the world. Something's working here, and maybe it can't be replicated outside this week, and we just need to accept it. But I would love to see it move around a little bit more. Renaissance Club, sort of a beefy course, definitely favors driving distance. A lot of par fours, that are big, longer, par fives that are longer. I don't know, it's all wind dependent, right? It's links turf, pot bunkers, big greens, slower greens, that whole deal. But it doesn't look like we're going to get much wind this week. I talked to David Jones, I talked to a few people over there, UK golf guy, and then a couple folks in North Berwick. It just seems like the forecast doesn't look for much wind. And it's been 2 years in a row, I think, since with just all of a sudden it just goes calm as soon as the tour shows up. Wow. And that changes the way the course played, obviously.
Could be something they're working on with the venue. Reduce the wind, increase the fairness. This could be.
That's what's happening.
Just wondering if this has to do with a certain rise of certain player to the number one in the world.
Just they're putting up a windshield of some sort. You think out there off the Firth? Is that the Firth of Forth there? I believe.
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
It's the Atlantic Ocean, actually. Some people call it the Firth of Forth.
No, it's fine. It's a fine course. It's good. It's linksy turf, but it's one of these where if you miss the fairway, and they're narrower fairways, the penalty's not. I mean, the guys are just hammering the ball. They're hammering. If you hit it far, you have an advantage, like most everywhere, but especially here. So
it was an exceptionally dry spring.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting to see how the next 2 weeks play. It could be really fast at both of them, which would be fun. Hopefully, I'll take no conditions this week if we get conditions next week. Like
That's
happy
fair.
trade, happy trade. It's do you think the sheriff's jurisdiction includes the the UK and
is he like
Northern Ireland and
is he like a
Ireland?
constable or something over there? I don't know my terms. Yeah, I think it does. I think wherever he shows up, he's got international authority at this point.
He's like a diplomat.
He's done enough. Yeah. Yeah, it's just his weight carries everywhere, it seems like.
Isn't that wild that diplomats just can't be arrested?
Well, yeah. It's incredible. I went to school, and then I moved to Washington, D.C. I went to school with like a couple kids who were from D.C. They're like, oh, yeah, all the high school parties. We had friends who were diplomats' kids. And they're like, they can't get busted for anything. The kids can just go 100 miles an hour down the street. They can do whatever. And so it's just like, yeah, it's an interesting dynamic there, certainly, for some enterprising high school students in the D.C. area. Did you see Dylan Frittelli, the king of content? He's suggesting he's going to putt with his 2-wood. Says the wood mini driver is what we'd call it now. But he says that's the ultimate links club now. And he's going to putt with it for putts over 50 feet, if windy. Is that right? PJ, you want to jump in here? I watched a DP World Tour put out a nifty little social video with Frittelli.
No,
why is Frittelli in the field?
He has to be DP World Tour points. I think has to be that.
Yeah, I think he is on DP World Tour. I just want to say, I think this is good by Dylan Frittelli. As somebody who also uses 3-wood and hybrid, as you mentioned, I stand with
putting?
Dylan Frittelli on this.
Middle of the green from 52 feet? He's using a driver? Mini driver?
Is kind of insane. But I want to see it happen just so maybe I mean, king of content. But I understand the theory here. I like this.
The coffee cart. Is the coffee cart back? Do we know?
I'm sure we'll have to get reports from the ground that I'm sure he's cleaning up at the free coffee cart, going
Sandwiches.
for lunch, dinner. Yeah, taking multiple drive-bys on his way out of town. Yeah, he cleaned up on some of those just pretty
South African swing in December.
Like Yeah, and then like Qatar and these other Bahrain and places like that. I think he was getting his points, and that's why he's in the field. So using his two wood to putt. Do you have a one and done pick for the Genesis Scottish Open at Renaissance?
Yeah, I'm taking a proper player, a worldwide player.
Oh,
a National Open, specialist. I'm taking Foxy.
Good pick. Great pick. Would it be just too cliche to take the defending champ, Robert MacIntyre?
I was looking at that.
Seems to be just putting incredible emphasis on this for obvious reasons and has been contending pretty much every year and also winning. Rory, another good pick. I'm not sure you'd want to use him for a $9 million purse, but does Rory get back in the battle this week? Andy, do you think that's I feel like we could see him kind of punching around.
Listen, I think he gets on this front foot and he doesn't let off.
It's about Rory McIlroy. You had to get away and get his head right. You come down the mountain, you reach the mountain, you got to figure out how to come down, and that's what he's doing. It's like a boxer, you throw a few punches in the first round, and then you get hit, and then you got to figure out the rest of the rounds. What?
At this point, the only thing that matters is that first tee shot at Portrush. Just getting out of the blocks.
That's reductive. Okay.
Getting off the blocks. There.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing about
God.
Is he just shoots a good first round at Portrush that he's humming then.
I think he's going to win this. Not win. I think he's going to play well this week. I think he's back. Back in the battle. Do I have any reason to say that? No.
2 months off. He's back.
I just think he's, this gets his juices flowing, the Scottish Open. So we'll see.
I think it's a fair thing to point out that maybe that just like the change in scenery is like kind of what he needs. Different style of golf at this point, different locale, different fans. Could be good.
I like Bobby Mack, not Rory, but but a similar reasoning.
Did you see? I was thinking about taking Bobby Mack, but just off of sheer principle, I couldn't. Titleist did a video where they talked to Bobby Mack about how he purposely hits it off the toe.
Yes.
He talks about there's no change in ball speed or anything. He just purposely mishits the ball. And why he does that is because he's afraid of hitting the shot that goes left, like the fade, the big miss fade.
Yeah.
And he started doing this at the old course, at the 2020. I think it was the 2022 Open. I can't remember which tournament he said. It could have been a Dunhill too, but he purposely misses the sweet. Like, can I just ask a question? A simple question. What are we doing?
I think that was a video with Andy Murray, I think, right? Where they were chatting about that.
Right. Why is it? I just can't grasp this. Like no baseball hitter be like, I'm trying to hit it off the end of the bat.
Yeah, and it goes exactly where I want it to go and how far it keeps me competitive at the highest level. Yeah. It's an interesting strategy.
It maybe a sign that equipment is ridiculous.
Could be.
That you just I just hit it off the toe. Because then the ball won't go left for me.
Pretty nice.
Like, you know what you can't aim for the toe on? Like a persimmon head, because you might miss the ball. Like your option, if you miss the toe a little on the toe side, is that you literally would like toe shank a ball.
You might get a ZJ off the tee mark, kind of thing. Yeah,
this is crazy. So anyways, I've put I can't root for Bobby Mack because of this situation. It's not his fault, But I'm lining down.
You're going to hear for it.
I'm drawing a line in the sand. I will not. I'm actively rooting against Bobby Mack from this point on.
Love it. That's a great reason. Go, PJ.
I don't know how I'm going to follow that up, honestly. I can't make declarative statements about toe balls and not rooting for Bobby Mack anymore. People are not going to be happy. People already think this podcast does not root for Bobby Mack. And now there is a full-on fatwa against him.
Obama.
So
there is a direct line to Bobby Mack that thinks we're very anti Bobby Mack. Well, I guess I am anti Bobby Mack at this point.
You just said those exact words.
Unequivocally said it. Yeah.
I like Foxy a lot. Foxy was on my short list, but I'll leave it open here. Speaking of guys who need a change of scenery, Tommy Fleetwood needs a change of scenery. And Tommy Fleetwood winning a PGA Tour event not in America, I feel like would be a pretty good fit. So I'm taking.
Does it count as a PGA Tour event? I think we'd count it as another DP World Tour win.
Well, we know he can win those. So
okay, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, back to Bobby Mack.
Yeah, you weren't done taking your pound of flesh.
No, please
there.
go.
Should we change his name from Big Shot Bob to Bad Shot Bob because he's hitting it off the toe?
Junk ball Bob. You are free to do with that. You're free to do that as long as you're okay with the consequences and repercussions. You anointed him Big Shot Bob. I believe
I did.
You did on this spot.
I did anoint him Big Shot Bob. With more evidence, I think we should call him Bad Shot Bob because he's purposely hitting bad shots that aren't being penalized off the tee.
Just absolutely savaging the home sun on their National Open.
I'm not savaging him.
Call him Bad Shot Bob.
He's good enough to hit it in the sweet spot, but the sweet spot, ironically, brings more. Like where he might be actually onto something. Like hitting the ball in the sweet spot brings more dynamics of missing at this point with modern drivers than hitting it off the sweet spot. That's wild. That's insane.
God.
He has more bad outcomes from hitting the ball in the center of the club face than hitting on the toe. Because if he hits on the toe, it doesn't go one direction.
I was home last week. I went in the basement and got out my 975D. And we're not talking about ancient times here.
Oh, that's a great driver.
You put it down, and now it still looks like a little tin can. And we're not even. That was a moderate size. That was on the march to where we're at now, closer to where we're at now.
The best part about the 975D era is that like we were also swinging like 80-gram shafts. Like that's like, you think about like some of the shafts that were around then. It was like, the Pro Force, the famous Pro Force was 65 grams.
Yeah, those Lakers.
But now shafts are like 50. But like, you had like the Aldila NV75. You had the like these were like 70. These things were pieces of lumber.
Great driver, but even that looked a little, like you could miss.
God, I think I might protest modern drivers again.
You guys spoke a little bit about Foxy. One last Scottish Open note I'll add. The new posting a picture of your milkshake at the memorial is now posting that you went to North Berwick. This is no slight against North Berwick, no slight against going there as an inquisitive mind, but these guys are all just like followers. They're all just like, oh, well, so-and-so went there, I'm going to go there. And that's great. I mean, I'm not going to slight them for going and seeing the world. It's become a bit cliche. I mean, they're just posting them all. Jake Knapp, Daniel Berger, the Bridgeman, which someone sent us a cheeky message, hitting it over the wall. Bridgeman, a bridge over the wall, just, hitting a little punch up and over as you would expect. But yeah, it's just everybody goes.
What's wild to me is like, why don't they ever post like that we're at Muirfield or Dunbar?
It's
like,
always
why don't
that one,
any of them ever go anywhere else? I get it. I just was, hands up. I was in that area. I played North Berwick twice. I was there for 3 days. I played North Berwick twice, but I also played Gullin 1 and Gossick, which is down the road, which was really cool. But yeah, it's funny because I was thinking about how I probably should have gone over and played Renaissance, but like at the same time, like why don't these guys go play like the other places?
I want to see one of them play Kilspindia with Hickories.
Yeah. I want to see one of them play Boris in a match at Kilspindia and just get dusted.
Our old friend Boris.
By like a 65-year-old hickory shop owner. Do you think he's 65? Is that too old? He's probably 55.
Maybe. I don't want to speculate on the man's age on the air. But yeah,
me either.
Who knows? I can't imagine some of these pampered Fs having to deal with Boris.
I wonder what Boris is doing this week. Do you think the shop's open or do you think he's playing golf?
I think the shop's closed more often than it's open. Just by the whims of Boris. Anyways, yeah.
I don't think I would. I think I'd feel more confident playing a match against Scotty Scheffler with modern clubs than Boris with hickories.
Okay. All right. So you've got who's your pick again? Foxy. I'm taking Bobby and PJ. Who's your pick again?
Tommy Fleetwood.
Okay. We'll see if this leads to any other, 4-figure donations to charities of our choosing next week. Let's do an ad read for our friends at Echo. They'll be well represented over there on the European Tour. I'm going next week to Northern Ireland for the Open Championship. I'm going to be sure to pack my Echo waterproofs. I might pack the trail runners or the ultra trail, not trail runner, ultra terrain trail shoes. Those guys are absolute tanks. They're weatherproof. They're golf shoes, though. Obviously, if you're over in Scotland, Northern Ireland, they have shoes inspired by the Highlands. They have been in the golf game now for almost 30 years. Thomas Bjorn was their first ambassador in 2000. They launched their first golf shoe in 96. They've been at it. They hit the sweet spot with Fred Couples in the Masters that one year. But where they excel is with comfort and technology. So they've got the Gore-Tex waterproof capability in almost all their golf shoes. Like if you don't want your feet feeling an inch or a speck of moisture, you load up on Echoes. They have all the Pro Soma heel cup. I know you're a big fan of that. They've got Primaloft insulation. So if it's a little bit nippy out there, and then they have the Gore-Tex with the waterproof technology and HMK 100K waterproof technology, not just any waterproof technology. So go to us.echo.com. Check out their full arrangement of golf shoes, full assortment of golf shoes at us.echo.com. Let's move on with our schedule for the week. We gave it enough acknowledgement already, but on the PGA Tour, we have the ISCO Championship. Is that like a pipe maker or something? What is ISCO? Is it insurance?
I think it's the guy that owns Valhalla.
Yeah, Jimmy whatever. Kircherdorfer picked up Scotty from jail. ISCO Championship is at Hurstbourne Country Club in Louisville, Kentucky. I believe this is the first time this has ever hosted this. And I think the same guy owns it, like the ISCO guy and Valhalla guy. I could be wrong.
ISCO's guy is into owning pipes and
golf courses.
Golf courses.
Hurstbourne. The purse is $4 million. Excuse me. Defending champ. Do you know who the defending champ is?
Oh, it was Harry Hall.
Yes, not playing in 2025.
It was a disaster of a finish, right?
Yes, ZB was in that
just
playoff,
passing it around.
Yeah.
Rico Hoey was in the mix, right?
Yeah, there's a burly boy, one of the younger. Yeah. Notables.
Firstborn.
Rafa Campos. These are notables. Earnest attempt at notables. Rafa Campos, Lanto Griffin, Nick Hardy, Bo Hostler, Gordon Sargent, Brant Snedeker, Michael Thorbjornsen, and Jimmy Walker makes the official notables. What they've done, though, they've done a good job of putting the young guns together in threesomes, I should say. You got Thorbjorn. Let me find it here.
I saw it was Thorbjornsen, Koiven, and who was the third?
Wenye Ding. who's playing from the European Tour. And then you have Robin Tiger Williams, Jackson Suber, and Kazuma Kobori. Then you also have Sargent with Angel Ayora, who was the 20-year-old Spaniard, I guess turned down Liv, like a stud Spanish kid who turned down Liv. He's playing with Sargent. And Miles Russell, that kid is so little. He's just a firecracker of power. He was on the Oakmont Range. You couldn't believe it. And Miles Russell's with Aurora and Sargent. And then you have Hostler, Robinson Thompson, and Davis Bryan or some other notable.
Robinson Thompson. I love that. Double
Dorian
son.
Thompson Robinson. No, not him.
Wait, there's a guy named Robinson Thompson?
It's Brandon Robinson Thompson, I believe is the individual's name. So
the double son.
Yeah, yes, the double son.
It would have been so much better if his full name was his first name was Robinson and his last name was Thompson. Feels like a book series could be written about Robinson Thompson.
It's just an interesting tee sheet.
I
Kevin
feel like
Waz with Watney and Jim Herman. What a threesome that is.
How about Kevin Waz getting in the Twitter DMs or Instagram messages?
What? He's going at us?
No, about him not being Patrick's son.
That was a public reply. He said, "Love what Patrick did for the Avs, but he's not my father." I don't know if that was a listener trying to just be cheeky with them and he had to clarify for him or what was going on. So yeah, what were we gonna say? I cut you off and talked about that.
I was gonna say I feel like we get a lot of like Sargent buzz. We get a ton of Clanton buzz. We're getting a lot of Koiven buzz. Nobody's talking about David Ford.
Yeah, I think the tour gave him a little bit of a boost when he came straight out on Canada. But yeah, I guess so. I guess he's overshadowed a little bit. I think he's got a chance to just be the guy. I
don't think we've heard a lot about him.
He was number one.
Finished number one in PGA Tour U.
Yeah.
So by their metric, was the best of the three of them. Yeah. Not saying that's the right, Koiven, Clanton's the, PGA Tour record was like insane, but based off the PGA Tour U point system, he was the best one. And it seems like all the shine goes other places. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because he's got a brother, but like he just does not get as much hype or talk, general talk about him, chatter.
That's fair. This event is just,
and I think like what we found is like, this is like a great example. It kind of reminds me with like all these guys getting their cards and Koiven. If you put Koiven in the bucket because he has his card, is like you have these four guys. It's kind of similar of like Hovland, Wolf, and Morikawa. They all turned pro, and Wolf got all the chatter, and it ended up being Morikawa and Hovland are the two better players. And I wonder if that we'll see something similar. Like I would say that like, Sargent's like kind of the one that I think is like obviously a unique situation in terms of like where his game is now versus when he earned his card. But I think Clanton's a great player, but like I wonder if it's just like he was nuclear hot at this time and maybe it ends up being someone else. I don't know. I'm just
fair to speculate. Ford playing the Scottish Open this week, someone to keep an eye on. This event is just a nuclear waste site with just all sorts of creatures coming out of the muck. I mean, it's not even Frankenstein. Listen to this tee time, Andy. Tommy Gainey, the Solicitor General, is in the PGA Tour event. He's paired with Andrea Pavan, and Alfredo Garcia Heredia. So you have this South Carolina Solicitor General. I mean, it's like Chernobyl. There's just all sorts of just interesting, like disfigured what is this event at this point? Tommy Gainey and Andrea Pavan in Kentucky. All right, continuing on with our schedule for the week. On the LPGA Tour, we have the Monday Evian Championship. The purse is still listed as TBD, $8 million last year. The defending champion is Ayaka Fudue. This will be coffee golf, I believe. It is on at 6 to 11 a.m. on Golf Channel, and then 4 to 10 a.m. on the weekends. So proper early coffee golf, where Scottish Open then takes over after that into the early afternoon on the East Coast. So this is, quote unquote, a major championship on the LPGA. I don't have a whole lot to add. The winners have been Minjee Lee the last few years, Brooke Henderson, Celine Boutier, and Ayaka Fudue. So that's your Monday Evian Championship morning coffee golf. The PGA Tour Champions.
Speaking of coffee golf, we just had a bunch of new merch hit the Fried Egg Pro Shop.
It's good. I mean, we're biased. It's our own stuff. Usually we hear some instant reaction, and we've gotten a lot of it around this stuff. People are fired up. The mugs are awesome. We brought it back. We put a mug on a mug. So we got that going for us. And some great shirts, good color palette there. We also have Open Championship, or I don't know if I should say, major championship played in Northern Ireland next week gear. So
anecdote.
Yeah.
Got my coffee golf coffee.
I did too. I made it this morning.
Yesterday. And it delivered like 11 a.m. Immediately made another pot of coffee and got like way over caffeinated yesterday. But it was delicious. Getting over caffeinated. Honestly, like, you don't feel good, but it's like one of my favorite things to do. I don't know why. Like, I think like if you gave me like a day where like shit. I think like almost an ideal day would be like nobody's at your house and you have like 2 pots of coffee and you have nothing to do but drink the coffee. Would be a great day. This coffee is really good. I really enjoyed it.
You like? I have the label somewhere. It's like hints of lime and Sprite. It's a light roast is what it is. And you can buy it at Good Walk Coffee, or you can buy it, I believe, in our own Pro Shop, right? proshop.thefriedegg.com. The merch is awesome. The coffee blend is really good. It's proper time for coffee golf. Please check it out.
The tasting notes are grapefruit, mimosa, jasmine, Sprite. 50% Ethiopia, 50% Kenya coffee.
Did you pick up any of those notes? Grapefruit, mimosa. Are you sophisticated enough?
I didn't. I'm gonna be completely honest.
You could tell me anything. No, I didn't pick it up.
I just know that I liked it.
I trust the people that are making it. Yeah, I like it.
It's okay to just say I like it and not know why.
I enjoyed it this morning. I made a full pot, working our way through it.
Just like I'm going to be telling my wife, listen, the ISCO, I don't know why I like it, but I like it this week. ISCO's the event of the week.
No, come on. I'm giving it to the U.S. Adaptive Open. Please.
You can give yours there. I'm giving it to the ISCO. I think I'm just going to lock into the ISCO this week.
It's like, you remember when you'd watch the Open and then you'd like as a cleanser or chaser to come down, you'd watch the little Barbie. It was Barbie then. It was the Barbasol.
It was the CUDA when we were in St. Andrews at night. And Ches Reavy was battling.
That's right. It used to be the
college bar.
God. Yeah.
Coeds were making out. We're locked in on Ches Reavy.
Just one of the throwback, the floor was stickier than all hell. Just a throwback college bar. We're just locked into the West Coast Tahoe golf. As it's whatever, 1 in the morning.
It's like 2 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 idiots. Yeah. So
God, what a back-to-back ISCO to CUDA. You know what? I might go out to the CUDA next week.
You should go to the ACC, the American Century Championship.
I wish I got invited.
Out the celebs. Were you as a celeb?
No, just to cover it. Wish they'd send me an email. I would go out there tomorrow.
You can do it. I would do it. We'll get over there.
Tell my wife we're going to Tahoe.
Yeah, you can
go and cover the ACC.
That's not. Yeah, they did. Just to talk about the boat scene and all the hijinks going on down there at the beach.
Should I go just do earnest coverage, earnest gamers, Marty Fish off to a rock, bogey the first 3. Gotta wonder, did he get enough prep in around the greens leading up to this, or was he distracted? By go ask the hard questions.
Yeah, you could talk about, David Wells has a new driver in the bag this week, and they're wondering what might come of that. Yeah, you could do all that stuff.
Who's your favorite ACC player? Like, who would you go watch?
Matt Ryan, Boston College, proper BC lad.
Peach?
Fellow CBS colleague. PJ, what obscure baseball player?
Baseball players. The problem is Jeff McNeil is getting jammed here. Can't go compete because he's too busy OPSing over 900 for the Mets currently. Aaron Rodgers is playing, so it's kind of low hanging fruit right there. I'd go heckle Vrabel for taking the Pats job over the Jets job.
Sure,
an active NFL head coach doing this is kind of insane. So,
I saw his name on the list.
That's legitimately alarming. So that makes me feel good as a fellow AFC East comrade.
Is Larry the cable guy in?
Peach, you probably never watch this guy. Gary Sheffield was a baseball player of my childhood.
Gary Sheffield finished his career with the Mets, hit his 500th home run as a New York Met.
Gary Sheffield had just so much swagger. When we were kids, he had that. He did the.
We're all mimicking it for this audio medium. We all immediately did
the bat waggle and a dress.
Yeah.
So, Gary Sheffield, seeing that name, it just immediately brought that image to me. Also, very excited to see former Chicago Bull, now NBA champion for the second time, AC Fresh, Alex Caruso, get a spot. I believe he was on maybe Rosillo last year, being I don't know how you get a spot in this. They got a spot.
Reeves is up there in the odds list. They're advertising an odds list.
I think he's a plus website. Handicap.
Yeah, Reeves is pretty high on the odds list.
I've heard he's very
Caruso,
good.
Actually, Reeves is 18-1. Caruso is 22-1. Steph Curry and Marty Fish are your favorites, if anybody's wondering.
I think Reeves might be a sleeper. That might be the play. That might be the best bet of the week.
It's really hard to get an invite to this. It's in demand.
Now that I'm looking at the full field, I have 2 other options. A, I would go follow Sam Darnold because I still believe that's still my guy for forever and always. And then B, I would go boo the hell out of Chase Utley. That's what I would do.
Here's a question for you. Do you think that Aaron Rodgers is demanding to be paired with Davante Adams?
I hope so. I think he should be. I mean, they got to spend the whole year apart this year. That's hard for them, as we've learned. It's not easy to do.
Wow.
So
we never know. Maybe by
Derek
October.
Carr the third. They got Derek Carr, Davante Adams, and Aaron Rodgers. That's like a love triangle with Davante Adams being the.
I mean, that video of Derek Carr the day after he mysteriously maybe went into forced retirement and immediately went to go play golf. So maybe he's been working on his game for the last couple months. He could be a sleeper here.
I thought, wasn't his shoulder broken or something?
He needed shoulder surgery. So he retired. It was unclear if he likely was going to get cut because he was going to be out for the whole year and just decided to retire.
Okay.
Catnip of the celebs here.
Albert Pujols to hit a golf ball would probably be amazing to watch, honestly.
He stinks. Overrated player.
Okay.
Tell us how you really feel.
It's impossible to get an invite to this. It's like really in demand.
How about this is a catnip call of the week?
Yeah.
How much family content are we getting with the Currys, with Dell, Seth, and Steph playing?
They gave them all spots. I mean, what, Riley getting a spot next year? Wasn't that the kid that would go to the press conference?
Yes.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of that.
How about Dylan Dreyer, a TV meteorologist? What meteorologist is this guy?
It's I think a woman. The Today Show or something like that. One of those. Which, like, why does the Today Show need a meteorologist? It's like, here's the country.
Isn't it Al Roker?
Oh, maybe. It's one of those. Those morning
this is
shows.
Like, there are some huge, like, legitimate, like, Miles Teller is, like, really famous. Steph Curry is really famous.
I can't believe we're talking about this.
This runs the gambit. Like, no offense to Vinny Del Negro. I know that's your guy, Andy, but, like, how does Vinny Del Negro get in?
That guy was a critical cog in the Spurs during one of their golden eras. Two guard.
PJ probably never watched Vinny Del Negro play basketball.
I know him as a coach. I don't know that I ever have like one memory of him.
Sort of have to remember, he probably is like, how did Jerry Rice get an invite?
All right.
That's who he's going to go after next.
All right. There is lines between Vinny Del Negro and Jerry Rice. There's even lines between Vinny Del Negro and Gary Sheffield, I would say. But then, like, there's like Jason Worth. Jason Worth is a little crazy. Jason Worth was like Carlton. A nice MLB player. Well, Carlton. I mean, that guy is the Champions Tour #1 fan.
Larry the Cable Guy.
Carlton deserves a spot.
It's an interesting composition. I know that. This thing prints money for NBC, I think.
I'm sure
it. It's just like it does well.
I might have to reach out, see if I could go there.
Jim McMahon.
For the weekend.
There's Chicago all over this.
Yeah, Jim McMahon does play barefoot. If you, I don't know if you've seen that before.
You got Urlacher too, hair lacquer.
On the Champions Tour, we have the Dicks Open at Enjoy Country Club in Endicott, New York. Padraig Harrington, 3-time champion, not playing. He's playing Scottish Open. Paddy Harrington just piecing out. Had enough of Endicott, New York. This is on. I don't know. It shouldn't be on anything if you're asking me. It's on Golf Channel, 2 to 4, 2 to 5, and 2 to 5, Friday through Sunday. Notables are Stephen Hames, Joe Durant is a notable, for God's sakes, David Duval, Ernie Els, JJ Henry, Jerry Kelly, the notorious BVP, Bo Van Pelt, and YE Yang are your notables. PJ,
has BVP been the most disappointing Champions Tour player this year?
I mean, his shoulders all.
What I was going to say, what are you realistically expecting from PvP?
I thought he was going to go up there based off his. I mean, the tour gave him like a crazy on ramp. I feel like he played for basically 3 years leading into it. I guess he's only played three. He's only 1 of 3 cuts made.
Sad.
That's not right.
Anything we need to know about this, PJ?
Duffy Waldorf is in the field, which I feel like is important to.
He's probably on the ISCO alternate, co-sanctioned. Probably not, but
could be an ISCO alternate.
Are you going to go up?
Still trying to figure that out. I mean, Maroon 5 is on Monday night. Andy asked, now that we
Monday
or Friday night. Friday night. It was the weekday. And my days, every day is the same at this point. And Andy asked last night what my new goal should be because we hit 50K on YouTube. I think getting Adam Levine for an in-person Champions Tour minute would be an absolutely hilarious turn of events. So maybe I have to go investigate the Maroon 5 situation.
Would you ask just a random person to film you?
Yeah, right? Why wouldn't I?
I'd rather you talk to another one of the 5 Maroons. I mean, we get enough of Adam Levine. I mean, is he interesting? He's got tattoos. He was on The Voice, right? Or one of those shows.
He's apparently a golfer. I'm sure he's sad about missing Tahoe.
Right.
You know what I'm regretting? We should have sent you guys the boys to Tahoe for just. You could have set up a table.
We could have done damage.
Lunch with the boys.
They would have
been every day a lunch with the boys.
They would have been into that. The tournament
next year. Write that down.
We did a bunch of stuff with that tournament in the prior job. They are eager to do stuff.
Next year. Lunch with the boys car wash at Tahoe would be incredible.
Previous guest, potential presidential candidate Josh Shapiro. That's what we would just put on the cold email outreach.
No love for Cam.
Potential Ryder Cupper Cam Young.
2025 Open champion Cam Young.
Last but certainly not least on the schedule for the week, the U.S. Adaptive Open is on Wednesday on Golf Channel from 2 to 4 p.m. This is the first time it's ever been on TV, the fourth running or the fourth edition of it. I went over there today to Woodmont. It's right in my neighborhood, a posh primo country club in the nation's capital. And I thought it's incredible. It's incredible to see up close. It was hot. It was muggy. It was not necessarily pleasant for golf. And it's just, to say they're doing this for love of the game, I think is trite bullshit, but because it's obvious. But to see it up close and personal was inspiring. I think, we go to a lot of events. I think like professional golfers, like the talent that's been bestowed upon them can become as much of a curse sometimes as a blessing, right? And it's just, this is what they've been given, and they have to be a competitor now and chase it. And the other impacts or aspects, the benefits of golf can be lost. I mean, it's a profession. It's no fault for them. It becomes purely about the money that can be made and the competitions that can be won. And that's not really how golf is for a lot of people, or almost all of people. And here you have a competitive element for people who've had, either they're born with disability, had a horrific accident, or some sort of disease or illness, something that, has led to them, their circumstance. It's so they're clearly they don't need to be playing golf, right? They maybe shouldn't have to. They don't want to play golf, but they're doing it because there's something right beyond just money and the trying to win. This is a competition. I think that's why they love it, because you lose elements of competition. And that's what sort of Paralympics can do, and the Adaptive Open can do. And whether it's enjoyment, restoration, exercise, it's like all these different things that we get from golf, and seeing people sort of persevere through whatever circumstance was inspiring. I followed this guy, Issa Nalareb. He was an Alps Tour player. First of all, he was from Cameroon. His mom died when he was 11. He was living on the streets. Decided to pick golf balls to make money, to buy food. So he comes from that circumstance. Then he gets into golf from Cameroon, becomes one of the best players in Africa, is on the Alps tour, contracts meningitis when he's in Egypt on a tour event, and he's in a coma for 5 days. He loses both legs below the knee. When he came out of his coma, all his limbs had what they call necrosis. So the cells were dead. And so he has all but 2 fingers, his thumb on his left, and lost both legs below the knee. He was on the Alps tour. And so to watch him hit, he does this ace bandage thing on his left hand. So he can hold and wraps it around the grip of the club with his hand, and then puts his right hand on the club. And he has 2 prosthetic legs. And you're he's happy. He's out there playing golf. He wants to win. He wants to compete. He's this is an honor to do this. You can live your life and dream still out through sport. And this guy who was I don't know if he would have been a pro or a pro with any long lasting impact, but he was there, and now he's doing, and it's just full of stories like that. And so it was meaningful for me to see up close where they're pissed. This one kid, hit a bad shot and he screamed the F word out loud. Like they're competing like us. And, but like, I don't know, just with yourself when you like have a shitty day out there, it's like, God, or, when we watched the Scottish Open and guys battle for $9 million, it was an interesting perspective to see people, and also cool aspect.
Some of these guys are legitimately really good. Kip Popper, who's leading, he's into the final qualifying for the USAM, and obviously he's going for his third in a row.
Shot 61 on Thursday, Monday, I guess would be first round. And the kid in the seeded category, Max Toscani, shot 67, Tagasala, Max Tagasala. So shot 67 in the seeded category. I don't know. It's kind of incredible to see up close and a little bit of a refresher. So Adaptive Open, good on the USGA for creating this championship. Woodmont like fully behind it. They did their whole South course, Andy, like the renovation work to like accommodate like ADA compliant, like to be able to take carts on the green pads, carts in bunkers and things like, not like the typical golf cart, but like the club got really behind this. The USGA is behind it. I don't know. That's my event of the week. It was awesome to see up close. I'll be back on Wednesday for the final. That'll be on 2 to 4 on Golf Channel on Wednesday. News, we don't really have anything. Billy Foster is more Collin Morikawa's new caddy on that roulette wheel. We also have renderings of Trout National, the clubhouse Trout National. I reached out. It's
understated.
It's not understated. It has a chapel, allegedly. This is per Josh Carpenter shared it. I don't know. I guess you're there on a weekend trip. You want to go to service. They're going to have a chapel. This is, of course, Mike Trout's club designed by Tiger Woods in conjunction. I reached out, an interesting AI rendering, reached out to a very highly respected interior designer in my area, friend Katie. I don't know, she probably wants to be anonymous. Said the first opinion is the logo looks like a car dealership, which I would agree with that. Said the renderings feel like a modern Texas ranch meets upscale Florida hotel. They have golf clubs as, fence posts, inside these cabins. It's interesting renderings is all I would put as Trout National starts to take off. Another person weighed in and said it's a cross between Dulles Airport and the Ritz-Carlton, which is another interesting blender cocktail.
That's tough.
So that's your Trout National news. I think that does it for this Wednesday episode. Full docket, full schedule.
All right. Everybody, I hope you lock
golf
into the ISCO this week with me.
Get your coffee golf merch to watch the ISCO. That's why we're doing it. Late afternoons.
Over caffeinated afternoons with the ISCO.
All right.
It could be the next trend.
We'll talk to you on Friday. Bring Liv Valderrama into the equation then. We got more golf. Talk to you then.